Hey everyone, welcome back for week 4, episode 4, 3 weeks of growth of our seed sheet so far, and welcome back to our weekly seed sheet Facebook Live gardening tutorial. We are Seed Sheet. We use innovative technology and materials to make it ridiculously easy to grow your own food and grow your gardening skills in the process. In our first episode, we showed you how to plant your seed sheet. In our second, we showed you how to take care of your seedlings as they're starting to germinate and grow and make sure that you're keeping them wet and allowing them to germinate because some take a couple of weeks. In our third episode last week, we discussed how to thin your salad seed sheet. And here today, we're checking back in. Our salad seed sheet is absolutely crushing it, looks fantastic. I kind of just want to pour some dressing on it and eat it right out of the bucket, but you know, we'll actually do it right. I'm trying to refresh mine here so I can see any questions come in. If you have any questions, just ask them right in there and I will answer them on the fly. The other thing that we do in each one of these weekly tutorials and garden chat is to highlight one of the sheets that we have and show you what it's looking like, what's included with it, and it's our featured sheet of the week. And our featured seed sheet for this week is our Grow Your Own Hot Sauce Kit. This is a wicked cool seed sheet, works really well in warmer environments too, where you have your cayenne, ring of fire cayenne peppers, not just normal cayenne peppers, ring of fire. You have a dragon carrot, which is a really cool purple carrot, works really well in containers, Napoli carrots, and your purple bunching onions, so kind of like scallion family. And what we're going to do here, actually Dave's on the camera today, say hey Dave.
Hey.
Dave's going to come in here and you're going to see how you're getting a ton of hot peppers from this single plant. And you can see all these white flowers on the top too. These are peppers in training. You can see a little guy just popping here. Hey dude. So one of the things that we really love here at Seed Sheet is the YouTube show Hot Ones, where hot questions and even spicier wings, and they have their guests go through and ask or answer ridiculously difficult questions that get harder as the hot wings get spicier. So we were thinking about taking a page out of that book, and in a couple of weeks, once these guys turn red, we will do something similar here and take your questions, no matter how ridiculous they are, and try to answer them the best we can while mowing down on some hot peppers. And it will be entertaining for you. It'll be painful for us, but it's going to be fun. One fun thing that some people might not realize is that your green peppers and your red peppers that you see in a grocery store are actually from the same plant. They just start green and then gradually turn red. The greener ones are less hot. The red ones are really hot. Carrie and Darlene, it's going to go. Give it a little patience. Hit refresh if necessary. I can see your questions, so it should be working. So to go back to what the goal of this week's tutorial is how to harvest your salad kit. We're starting to see a lot of people that purchased our seed sheets right after Shark Tank and got them in the ground a few weeks ago, a month ago, and they're starting to get nice, big, abundant growth, which is awesome. And then the questions are, what do I do now? How do I eat this? So I want to remind you, inside of your package, your Grow Your Own Seed Sheet package, not only do you have your seed sheet, which to recap, you put seed side down, you can see the seeds, seed side down, on top of soil, water, the pouches dissolve, your plants germinate through the weed blocking fabric, and you get a really awesome weed-free garden. But what I wanted to highlight inside, you get this fun little brochure. It gives you directions on how to plant it, how to water it. On the back of it, it gives you the breakdown of all the different types of plants that are inside, as well as how to harvest them, and on the inside here, how to eat them. We're not just trying to tell you how to grow delicious plants, we're also trying to help you, inspire you of how to eat it. So today we'll be making our seed sheet gourmet salad, and doing that by just harvesting the plants that are on it. This is the same exact seed sheet that we planted in our first episode, which was 3 weeks ago now. So this is 3 weeks of growth. you get your nice pea shoots really developing, your tatsoi is looking good, your arugula, your kale in the middle is looking awesome. Our spinach is starting to grow. Spinach is a little bit slower, so we're going to give it some times. Our beet greens are going. You can see those nice red stems. Those are really delicious. Love those ones. And then the big surprise here, the big reveal, get those radishes, our Valentine's Day radish. Those are only 3 weeks old. So we're going to pull out one of those. In our last episode, we talked about how to thin your different plants so that it provides adequate room for them to actually grow and develop their roots. And in this case, we thinned it down to 3. We say 2 to 3 for radishes. And now we're going to be able to pull our first one, which is going to provide more room for the next to follow and keep developing. So, as we stated in the last one, how to harvest your pea shoots was to find a joint and then just using your pinchers, find the joint and then pinch the stem off above it. So now we're going to have a little pea shoot here. And then for all of your other plants, we can just kind of zoom in here, Dave. Here's a good one. This is our Frilly Mustard green. It kind of has these like really fun and frilly leaves. So what you're going to do, there's multiple ones growing here. We're just going to pick some of the outside leaves. And again, we're just going to use our thumb and forefinger and we're just going to pinch. And each time that you harvest, you're just going to pinch away about 1/3 of the plant. Going for the outside ones, because as you pinch the outside ones, more plants will start to grow up the middle. So this way you can harvest your sheet, get some good food out of it, and harvest it in a way that it will keep on growing. So with this sheet, we really tried to source, not only really fast-growing plants, but also ones that will not be like your spicy, acidic salad greens, like your mustard greens. But here's some kale we're going to pinch here, but just really delicious and sweet and crispy salad greens. So definitely something that's going to be really tasty and not something that's going to have too much bite to it. Grab some of our arugula here. And we're just picking the outside leaves off. This is, still a young sheet. This is only 3 weeks old, so you don't want to get too aggressive and decimate the whole thing out of excitement. Here's some tatsoi. We're going to pinch off some outside tatsoi. And you're not going to get a ton of salads out of this first harvest, but if you are looking to, chomp down on it a little bit, you can't help yourself, you can start to fill up at least a little salad bowl, and as the plants develop and the leaves get bigger, you'll get a lot more bang for your buck. So that's a little bit of everything. Oh, we'll get some beet greens in here too, because who doesn't love some beet greens? Plus they have that nice red stem, so some nice looking color to it as well. And then we'll throw in a little more pea shoot on the top, just because they're really spindly and cool looking, extremely fast growing too. So, this is already like a foot long. It's only been a few weeks. And then for the finale here, Dave, why don't you come in tight on this, because this is the highlight. Our radish here. And again, this is only 3 weeks old, so we're going to grab this big one, and you're going to, same deal, put your thumb and forefinger right on the actual radish, and you are going to gently pull and twist, and ba-boom! There we go. This is French breakfast or Valentine's Day?
French breakfast.
French breakfast radish. Right, the Valentine's Day radish is in our taco garden. Taco seed sheet. Mark Meyer says, once you move outside growth, will the plant continue to grow? Yes, it will. Especially if you are clipping off those outside leaves, new ones will keep growing up the middle. So again, just harvest about 1/3 of the plant each time you do it, and then just provide enough time for it to grow back in the middle. You remove 1/3 each time and then do it 3 days in a row, there's not going to be anything left. So give it a little bit of time to regenerate. And then, Dave, when you come back in for the chop here, because this is always fun to see. You know, we could wash this, but you know, even though our garden Jumanji room here / office / kitchen has a sink, you know, there's no pesticides, there's no herbicides. You could eat this right out of the ground. So we're just gonna chop those up nice and thin. Woo! I need to go to culinary school here. This is weak. And then these guys, especially when they're young like this, so good, so juicy. They're not tart. They're just sweet. And then, come on, look at how good that is. That's amazing. Homegrown. Can't beat that. Cannot beat that. After you harvest, your plants are going to be stressed a little bit, so we recommend just hitting it with some water after you do that. Try not to get it on your laptop if you're doing a live video. So we're going to put this guy back, and we're going to check in on how our other plants are doing, how our other seed sheets are. So again, this was 3 weeks ago that we planted all of these. And I'll pull out our caprese kit. And you can compare last week to this week, where we pulled out, we had about 5 caprese growing in there, and now there's just 1. And if you look at the video from last week to this week, this single glacier tomato plant really took off and started growing quickly because we removed the competition. There's no other roots fighting for nutrients, and it's starting to, you know, really start to flourish. You can see our clusters of basil are popping up in here as well. Basil is definitely a slower germinating plant. Takes some more time to develop. Once the true leaves pop off, those are the ones that actually look like basil leaves, they'll start to open up, grab more sunlight, and the plants will start to grow quicker. Again, we overplant each seed sheet to make sure that each actual dissolvable pouch has multiple seeds in it. So what you'll be able to do is pluck out your basil once they get more established, and you can identify the top 2 or 3 growing plants in each pouch, and then pull out the extraneous ones to give those good fighters the better chance of having the room to grow and get bigger. So we'll check back in with caprese next week. Here is our taco seed sheet that we planted also 3 weeks ago. And in this one you can see the fast growth we're seeing from our radishes. There's 3 different types of radishes in here because we really like to have some radish lime slaw in our seed sheets or in our tacos. And you know, the sliced radishes just look really bomb on top of a fresh homegrown taco. Our cilantro is a little leggy. You can see it's a little leggy, but it's starting to grow. And what I mean by leggy is when the stems get really long and then the plants fall over. And we've seen some customers saying that my plants did really well, but then they fell over and died. That's usually the result of not enough light. So again, it's been cold here in Vermont. We had snow last week because why not? It's May, why not have snow? So we had to bring all of our gardens inside, and there's not as much light indoors as there is outdoors, and even an LED grow light like we have doesn't provide as much power as the sun. So our plants are a little leggy. We'll get them back outside, and so long as the leaves are still there and happy, we will be able to, they'll regenerate, the stems will thicken, and then they'll stand back up. Here we already thinned our radishes down, so we're not going to have to do that. Look at last week's tutorial on how to thin as necessary. Our scallions are popping up here. They're looking good. You do not need to thin your scallions because they don't compete with each other that much. They're more of a grass. So we're going to put tacos back, and we're going to pull out our hot sauce kit. So the hot sauce one here, it's a really cool comparison where, actually let me orient it the right way. This will turn into this. So same deal, our scallion, actually sorry, our purple bunching onions are the clear winner right now, and you do not need to thin those as well either. And your carrots, boom, 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 and your peppers, you will need to thin. And so, again, with thinning, we're going to start by watering the sheet. Which kind of adds a little bit of nutrients to the soil, but also makes it a little easier to pull out your plant roots without hurting them. So we'll start with our peppers, and again, like last time, you know, this guy might be a little bit bigger, but it's kind of surrounded by our other plants. So what we're going to do is isolate the plant that's kind of by itself, and we're going to let that one be the one that we keep. So we're just going to gently pull out these other plants. And now we have 3 little peppers. And one of the questions that we had last week is, can you replant these? And you certainly could. So if you want to put those into a tray or a solo cup and then get them growing and then transplant them outside, you definitely can. One of the questions that we do frequently get is, do I need to transplant my seed sheet and cut out the plants individually and put them outside later? You do not. And that's because we specifically source seed varieties that work well in containers that can compete with other plants that are inside of a tight space. And so we use companion plants that work well together, provide beneficial nutrients, so that you can grow your own hot sauce ingredients with your carrots, onions, and peppers. You can grow all of your different herb varieties in one small container. For carrots, the same thing. We recommend only having 2 to 3 inside. So we're just gonna isolate and pull out some of the carrots that we don't want in here. And the result is going to be healthier plants because we're giving them room to grow. So I'll leave 3 in that one. This is a little bit more of a cluster. I'll pick out some of the outside ones. And hopefully you can see what we're doing. It's kind of clustered here. Our carrots have really good germination, so it's overkill is underrated is our motto. And there's 3, so we'll leave those in there. And we do not thin the purple bunching onions, so they will grow up and get bigger. Our most popular seed sheet is by far our herbs seed sheet. And as you can see, this one's still pretty small. Herbs are really delicious, but they're also really lazy. So don't judge them, give them some time to sprout up. What you will see, and you're starting to get it right in here already, is that your basil is going to be pretty slow. Until those leaves pop up and start collecting sunlight, they're going to grow pretty slowly. So they're going to need some time and they're going to need sun. And so what you're going to see sometimes is your cilantro and your dill start to crowd them. And especially once they get a little bit bigger, once your dill and cilantro get a little bit bigger, they're going to start shading out your basil. So just make sure that you eat your dill and your cilantro. Anytime that things start crowding each other, it's just a sign you need to start harvesting it. So check the brochure inside of the package that will tell you how to harvest it, or watch these videos again. As these grow, probably next week, we'll actually start harvesting our cilantro and our dill some more, just to make sure that you know, it's not getting in the way of our basil, and maybe we'll get a little guacamole out of it too. You know, can't complain there. Our sorrel is looking really good. Even at this young stage, you can pick off, you know, one of the little leaves, and you have to eat this. It's the coolest thing. It just has this awesome, like, tart but sweet kind of taste to it. I love it. Put it in with the pesto and a game changer. Total game changer. You also see here our parsley. And our parsley is probably one of the slower plants that we have in all of our seed sheets. But we found that a lot of people really, really love parsley. This is Italian flat leaf parsley, so it's not the curly kind. And it is really a phenomenal variety. Really delicious in different meals, not only as a garnish, but as a side by itself. We looked at the taco, we looked at the hot sauce, our cocktail one here. You can see our purple basil is just glorious. It almost looks like there's a green hybrid one in there too, but there's purple on it, so same thing here. Our parsley's growing, but it's pretty slow. This is a different type of pea shoot, and you could harvest this same way, harvesting the main stem right above a joint. If you want to have a little sprig of something in your cocktail, that's a really delicious type of plant. And you'll see our borage. Now borage is crazy. Borage will take over your garden in 2 seconds. So we definitely recommend thinning your borage. So again, we're just going to hit it with water really fast. I'm only going to hit the borage with water because that's the only thing we're going to thin today. And isolating a plant, pinching it by the bottom roots, and just gently tugging it out. So you can see that's a healthy root structure already for a plant that's only 3 weeks old. And then we're going to grab this other plant here. We're going to thin it out too. And now we're left with, oh, that's 2. No, we're only going to want 1. So we're going to grab this last one here, and we're going to pull it out. Now we're left with 1 borage plant, and that's still going to grow some giant leaves. Mark Meyer says, I have a planter with herbs. If I wanted to have a seed sheet with only dill, is that possible? So, yes it is. On our website, we also offer customizable seed sheets. So, we have 2 different options. One is for larger plants, so that's our 4-pod, which I don't have here, but that's more this arrangement. So this leaves more room, has less plants in it, to allow larger plants, in this case tomato, to really grow to its full size. And then we have 8 pouch ones like this that have 8 different varieties for plants that can grow closer together. So we definitely have the ability for you to go to our website, select custom, and then choose whether you want 4 plants or 8 plants. And then if you want to have 8 dill, go for it. We've had people do 8 zinnias, 8 different kinds, or 8 basil plants. So you definitely have the option to design your own, and we will build it and ship it right to you. I'm sorry that Carrie and Darlene aren't able to join us here yet, but this will be available online. We put all of these on our website, as well as they'll be available here on our Facebook page as well. That's all we wrote for today. So bring your questions next time around, or you can even type them in here and we will answer them just on Facebook here later as well, and just type in answers. Join us next week, where we will be back and we will be looking at our growth for the different plants that we planted 3 weeks ago now. They'll be coming up on the 1-month mark. So our salads will be really nice and large. Our tacos will be ready to make some. Maybe we'll do some office tacos here. I like that idea. And again, in 2 weeks, we will be doing our Hot Ones challenge. So come up with some, fun and funky questions for us, and we will answer them while eating hot peppers and try not to cry. Somehow I made it through Shark Tank without crying, so hopefully I can make it through the hot pepper seed sheet challenge without crying, but no promises. So thank you very much. Don't forget, show us how your plants are growing. Hashtag seed sheet on any photos on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Tag us in them and we'll give you a social media shout out. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.